Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Israel.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. Members of Congress are pushing back against the president's call for reform at the NSA. He says the changes will make the National Security Agency's surveillance programs more transparent. But critics say the changes don't go far enough and really aren't changes at all.
It's not enough for me as president to have confidence in these programs. The American people need to have confidence in them as well.
The president wants a new civil liberties officer at the NSA and a commission to review intelligence programs like collecting telephone records with Congress. But some leaders do not believe that's enough.
We need to ask questions like, why did Mr. Snowden have access to the information that he had to? It couldn't have been part of his job. What about congressional oversight? Have we had a failure there? And clearly, Mr. Snowden's being granted asylum in Russia is a signal of incredibly bad relations between the United States.
Even Democrat Congressman Jim Clyburn, who has supported the president's stand on the NSA program in the past, said it's important to send the country and the president a message that, quote, this is something that we cannot allow you to just have a blank check on. Still, former NSA and CIA Director Michael Hayden issued a word of caution to the American people.
The president is trying to take some steps to make the American people more comfortable about what it is we're doing. That's going to be hard because, frankly, Bob, some steps to make Americans more comfortable will actually make Americans less safe.
Snowden's father also responded to the speech saying his son is not a traitor. But Lon Snowden also said that while he believes in the American justice system, he isn't sure his son could get a fair trial.
As a father, I want my son to come home if I believe that the justice system that we should be afforded as Americans is going to be applied correctly. What I would say is that my son has spoken the truth. He has sacrificed more than either the President of the United States or Peter King have ever in their political careers.
Now, while Edward Snowden's leaks have created a huge headache for the Obama administration, the president insists Snowden is not the reason for his call for changes at the NSA.
Attorney General Eric Holder is changing how the Justice Department prosecutes nonviolent drug offenders. Instead of facing a mandatory minimum prison sentence, they would be sent to drug treatment and community service programs. Holder says the overhauling the federal prison policy will improve sentencing policies across the country. The U.S. imprisons a higher percentage of its population than other major countries, largely because of anti-drug laws passed in the 80s and 90s. Now federal prisons are operating nearly 40% above capacity.
Law enforcement officials are turning to an old tactic to crack down on drug dealers. They're reviving old, rarely used laws so they can charge dealers with the deaths of overdose victims. This comes as heroin deaths have been skyrocketing. The number of people who died of overdoses linked to heroin jumped 55% from 2000 to 2010. Prosecutors say technology is making it easier to track down the dealers because overdose victims leave a trail of text messages and calls on their cell phones.
The Government Accountability Office is investigating Planned Parenthood to find out how it spends taxpayer money. More than 50 members of Congress have asked the GAO for the investigation. Planned Parenthood is the nation's largest abortion provider. It got more federal money last year than ever before, $542 million. Louisiana Republican Senator David Vitter says there's no accounting to prove how they actually use that money. This GAO report would shine a light on how our tax dollars are being spent.
The White House is calling for increased spending on the nation's electric power system. The cost of weather-related power outages is on the rise as storms in the U.S. grow more severe and the electric grid gets older. The White House says spending money to make the grid stronger and more flexible will save the economy billions. Power outages cost $18 to $33 billion per year. Thunderstorms, hurricanes, blizzards, and other extreme weather cause 58% of all outages since 2002.
Well, Detroit may be the largest city in American history to go bankrupt, but it's not alone. And as dozens of other cities fight for fiscal survival, crucial infrastructure upgrades are being pushed to the side.
Caitlin Burke reports on a way those cities on the brink can not only generate substantial revenue, but also get the upgrades they so desperately need.
Across the country, more and more cities struggle to pay their bills. Obligations from payroll to healthcare to pension funds squeeze already shrinking budgets.
But there is a solution, a way to make those desperately needed infrastructure updates without using government money. It's called public-private partnerships.
Critical infrastructure projects often get sidelined. The result? Crumbling highways, outdated water systems, and electric grids that can't keep up.
Under a partnership, private sector will come and do the investment, so it's not on the books of the public sector. It's a private sector debt.
Richard Norman says these partnerships can improve the quality of a wide range of services.
We use partnerships for transportation, that's an obvious one. But for energy systems, water systems, real estate and economic development, housing, hospitals, schools, I mean, it's almost endless supply.
Poor maintenance contributes to that growing need, and new building projects rarely make it to a city's drawing board. Private investors can replace that aging infrastructure and provide state-of-the-art services. There's a big need in New York City. Engineer Mitch Simpler calls the Big Apple's electrical infrastructure insufficient.
Con Ed has the same issue that the rest of the utilities have, which is, they had never envisioned the kind of electrical growth that the city has experienced. And the good news is the city is growing. We are building more buildings, all of whom need a significant amount of power, and Con Ed is doing their very best to deliver it. But it's a finite resource, and their infrastructure has finite capabilities. Because of all that, their utility rates are extraordinary. And it's, again, because of the rates that they have to charge to cover this infrastructure upgrade, not making it more reliable, more robust, simply to be able to keep pace with the increasing demand.
Former New York Governor George Pataki says the stage is set for private investors to step in with financially effective solutions.
What I hope we do far more of in New York and in the country going forward is empower private companies with tremendous expertise, and not just the expertise, but also billions of dollars that they want to invest in infrastructure projects to work with the public sector to come up with both financially better, more effective, and quicker solutions to the infrastructure problem.
The need exists, and the private funding is there. Now it's up to state and local leaders to get on board and take advantage of the opportunity. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
Thanks, Caitlin. Gospel singer Donnie McClurkin was banned from performing at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial because of his stance on homosexuality. McClurkin has testified God delivered him from being gay. He was set to perform Saturday for the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, but a handful of gay rights activists objected. A spokesman for Mayor Vincent Gray says the Grammy-winning singer decided not to perform because the purpose of the event was to bring people together. But in a video statement, McClurkin said the mayor's office uninvited him.
It is intolerant. It is, these are bully tactics simply because of stances that I took. Never ever demeaning, never ever derogatorily addressing any lifestyle. But this is a civil rights infringement situation.
McClurkin says pastors who spoke against the mayor's move were ignored. He has asked for prayer as he plans to fight the action taken against him.
An American missionary detained in North Korea for the past 9 months has been transferred from a labor camp to a hospital. Here at home, his family is stepping up its calls for his release. On Saturday, hundreds of people attended a vigil for Kenneth Bay in Seattle, Washington. Bay was a tour guide who encouraged prayer for the reunification of South and North Korea. He was arrested in November 2012 and sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. His sister says Bay suffers from diabetes, an enlarged heart, liver problems, and back pain.
What if something happens to Kenneth? He goes blind or his heart gives up and his body just gives out. It seems like he's really in a kind of a weak state. He's got to be in a bad enough state for them to have transferred him.
In recent letters, Bay urged his family to speak out more for his release.
Angry Muslims tossed gasoline bombs into a Christian church and 4 Christian homes in southern Egypt over the weekend. It started when 2 families started fighting after a Muslim tried to stop a Christian neighbor from building a speed bump in front of her home. Tensions between Egypt's Muslim and Christian communities have been higher ever since Islamist President Mohamed Morsi was ousted from power last month.
Coming up, technology brings ancient biblical faces to life. You have to see it to believe it.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 US gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is recovering from emergency surgery over the weekend. The 63-year-old underwent a successful operation to take care of an umbilical hernia at a Jerusalem hospital Saturday night. Defense Minister Moshe Ayalon was appointed acting prime minister while Netanyahu was under full anesthesia. The surgery took about an hour, and the prime minister resumed full control over the country a few hours later. Netanyahu is expected to return to a full workload by the end of this week or the beginning of next week.
Have you ever wondered what Samson's Delilah looked like, or a man who might have known Jesus? Well, science and technology are now teaming up to create a glimpse of people from the time of the Bible. CBN's Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell has that story.
This is the skull of a man who lived in Galilee during the time of Jesus and might actually have heard his Sermon on the Mount. This was a Philistine woman who may have known Delilah from the time of Samson. And this is how they could have looked. They appeared in the National Geographic documentaries Lost Faces of the Bible.
You do see facial reconstructions of ancient people, Iceman from Europe or Egyptian mummies, but you never see biblical faces. You never see people from the Holy Land, from Israel.
When human bones are found in Israel, Jewish religious activists usually insist they be reburied immediately. So to work with skulls is rare.
We realize that modern technology has given us an opportunity to do in Israel what has been done elsewhere, namely to bring ancient faces back to life.
Using criminal investigation techniques, filmmaker Simcha Jacobovici, anthropologist Israel Hershkovitz, and their team reconstructed 4 ancient faces to flesh out stories from the Bible.
I want to tell the story of the Jewish people in the Galilee. And I use it, and I use the facial reconstruction to look at the story and from a different angle.
The other players? A Canaanite baby placed in a jar and buried under a house might have been a child sacrifice. And a 6,000-year-old hunter shows life from the world of Jacob and Esau, or Cain and Abel. Experts began by loading a CAT scan of the real skulls into a computer. An artist fills in any post-mortem damage, like this missing eye socket. A 3D copier prints layers of the digital image as glue on successive layers of fine powder. Forensic artist Victoria Lywood gives the skull cast a face. What comes out is amazing.
So essentially what you're doing is you're going feature by feature and developing each one of those according to the studies, and then what you get at the end of it is an approximation of the person you're after.
Lywood says she doesn't anticipate the way the face will look.
You just work it and you see what you get at the end of it. And I was surprised when I saw the man who knew Jesus. I thought, let me check my measurements because this kind of looks like something that you would see maybe from the Bible or something like this.
At the same time, another forensic artist worked on a digital reconstruction, much the same as animation is done today. His man from Galilee was similar, but different. Herskovitz says he hopes these reconstructions will help young people understand the value of history.
If you want to have a future, a better future, we have to learn more about the past.
I'm hoping that through the vehicle of this modern CSI-type forensic reconstruction, people will actually get excited again about turning to the Bible and reading these stories that are really the lifeblood of Western civilization.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Up next, he was a rising star in a political party of anti-Semites until he had a shocking conversation with his 94-year-old grandmother.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Imagine one day, out of the blue, you find out you're not the person who you thought you were. And in fact, you're the very thing you hate.
That's right, and that's exactly what happened to one man in Budapest. Dale Hurd has the story of this man's crisis and his amazing transformation.
He was once a rising star in one of Hungary's largest and most controversial political parties, Jobbik. Jobbik has been labeled fascist and anti-Semitic. Shanad Szegedy, still in his 20s, was on a trajectory to lead this party someday.
I joined Jobbik in 2003 when the party foundations were being built. I was a member for 9 years. I was vice president for 6 years and in the European Parliament since 2009.
Szegedy has also been branded an anti-Semite, although in our interview he disagreed.
When I entered Jobbik, I was kind of indifferent toward Jews. I didn't care about Jews. I didn't care about the Holocaust. I didn't consider the Holocaust as a tragedy for the Hungarian people. I read a lot of anti-Semitic literature.
Still, Szigeti was a leader of a party almost universally labeled anti-Semitic, and his public statement showed that at the very least, he still didn't like Jews and was suspicious of them. But that would all change when Chinad Szigeti would learn something about himself that turned his world upside down. Chinad Szigeti was a Jew. Rumors had begun swirling on the internet that Szigeti had Jewish roots, so he went to talk with his 94-year-old grandmother, who had never said she was Jewish.
And she opened up, and she talked about her life, and how she was sent to Auschwitz, and how our whole family was annihilated.
How did this change your view of the Holocaust?
I was shocked. First of all, because I realized the Holocaust really happened.
Not sure what he should do next, he first tried to hide his Jewishness and act like nothing had happened, but eventually realized he could not stay in Jobbik.
I realized I can't take part in any organization that has anything to do with anti-Semitism. And after my Jewish origins were disclosed, they really didn't want to see me in the party.
So what do you do when you discover that you are one of the very things that you hated? For Chinad Szigeti, you change. Szigeti contacted local Rabbi Shlomo Koves, who first thought it was a joke.
When we met first with Chinad, I had a very mixed feelings because from one hand, I was sitting across somebody that was seen for years as one of the main figures of the Jobbik party. From the other hand, I was sitting across a broken person who has realized what he has done and who has become to a situation where he figured he has to change, but he still doesn't know how to change.
Chinad started attending synagogue and admits that at first, some members treated him like a leper.
It was very interesting to see how other people look at it, and on one hand, they took a step back and they were shocked.
And would literally leave the synagogue when he walked in. But some befriended him, and he started taking classes at the synagogue, learning Hebrew and the meaning of kosher and Shabbat. How much of your life has changed since you learned that you're a Jew?
It's changed everything. It's like being reborn, and the changes in my life are still happening. I had this value system until I was 30, and I had to admit that it was all wrong and had to find the will to change.
He also became a politician without a party, but has continued to serve in the European Parliament as an independent.
As a politician, I now want to defend human rights for everyone. I am aware of my responsibility, and I know I will have to make it right in the future.
One of the high points of his new life was traveling this year to Israel with his wife and visiting the Holocaust Museum and the Wailing Wall.
When I landed in Israel, airport security asked me a lot of questions. And when the guard asked me, "Are you a Jew?" then for the first time in my life, I could say yes.
What has it been like learning how to be Jewish?
Just to feel like you're on the right way spiritually and you can get closer to God, it's a whole new feeling for me that I'm doing the right thing. My life has been full of incredible miracles, but I believe everyone who chooses the way of God sees miracles.
Dale heard CBN News in Budapest, Hungary.
Like we were saying, like a modern-day Paul in the Bible story.
You become what you hated.
It's amazing.
Indeed. What a story. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new GripGo, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and GripGo grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right
right off with ease. That's the advantage of GripGo. You can get the amazing GripGo with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete GripGo systems for just $14.95.
To order GripGo for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Finally today, an American World War II veteran has received an unusual gift from a grateful Frenchman.
It's his dog tag, 69 years after they were lost during the war in France.
Philippe Clairbout's sister found the long-lost dog tag in her olive garden in southern France in 2001. And after years of trying to locate the tag's owner, Clairbout finally met the World War II vet in Newark, New Jersey. Willie Wilkins was an Army corporal fighting in the Allied invasion in southern France. A quartermaster, Wilkins was responsible for removing and identifying the bodies of dead American servicemen. At some point in August 1944, Willie Wilkins' dog tag somehow slipped off his neck.
Willie and his life, it's a big shock for me because I know as Willie going in the Army at 21 years old. And in 1942, now it's a long time, but it's very, very big for me when I saw it. Great.
Wilkins' daughter Carol said her father knew he lost the tags, but didn't have time to think about it.
He didn't have time to think about a dog tag. He was picking up dead bodies. And how it came off, he doesn't know. It could have been him reaching down, picking up a body.
Clairbout spent over 10 years trying to find Wilkins. He also delivered medals and tokens of appreciation from the French town Willie helped save during the war.
To see Willie, no war. It's very important. And very nervous this morning, this night, because it's a hero.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Such a heartwarming story.
And the fact that you cared enough to take the time to find him, that's beautiful.
10 years.
I tell you.
Wow,
Amazing.
talk about persistence. God bless them both. Well, that's it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Have a marvelous Monday, everybody.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.